Yo, what is going on, guys? Trusty Thrust, your Trust Chill here. I hope each and every one of you guys is having an awesome, great, and safe day. Today, I got a pretty crazy story for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying the commentaries. I really do love it. Really do love doing the commentaries. They're a lot of work, but I really do love doing them just because they're a lot of fun to film. And the editing is really hard. I spend like 6 hours editing my commentary videos, even though they might seem like dog shit, but I spend a lot of work editing them. So yeah, make sure you do leave a like on the video if you've been enjoying my commentaries. But yeah, today I got a story time for you guys because a lot of you guys were asking for story times. For some reason, you guys enjoy my story time videos more than my commentaries. So yeah, today I got a pretty crazy story for you guys. I don't think I've ever seen a YouTuber do a story about like a bad high they had on weed. And I figured I'd do a bad high story because, I don't think I've ever seen someone else on YouTube do a bad high story. I've seen people do bad LSD trip stories, but I've never seen anyone do like a bad high on weed story. So I figured I'd do a bad high on weed story. Starting off, this took place in March, back in March of last year. So back in March of 2019. And around this time, my brother had just quit his job up in Delaware, and he had moved back down to Florida with his friend, and they had to go back up to Delaware to grab some of their stuff. And I've never been to Delaware before until I went on this trip with him and his friend. And like the day they were planning on leaving to go back to Delaware because my brother had a girlfriend up in Delaware around this time, and he had to go figure out things with her as well as my brother and his friend kind of had to go back to Delaware to grab their stuff. So they ended up inviting me to go back up to Delaware with them, and I'm like, of course I'm down because I'd get a week off school and then I would get to go up to Delaware with them for a couple days and just party a little bit because my brother's friend likes to party a little bit. My brother will party occasionally. He's not like a big party animal. But my brother likes to party a little bit here and there too, so I was like, this might be fun. I might get to party a little bit. I might get to have some fun. And my brother's pretty chill, and his friends, I don't mind hanging out with his friend either. So I was like, why not? This will be lit. So we ended up going on this trip, and the first day of the trip wasn't bad. We ended up driving up there. It took like 13 hours. It fucking sucked. But once we got there, we got up to my brother's girlfriend's house at like 1 a.m. in the morning. We ended up staying the night there. My brother's girlfriend was really chill, and then yeah, there's not really much to do up in Delaware, so they kind of just party. And my brother had told me on the car ride up to Delaware, he was like, "Hey, we're just gonna be partying a little bit in this trip if you don't mind a party." And he was like, "If you ever feel uncomfortable in any situation, just let me know, and I'll get you out of there." And essentially like the second day of the trip, we went to this one girl's house, and this was one of the girls he was staying with when he was up in Delaware. This girl ended up letting my brother and his friend stay with her, and she was a pretty chill. I ended up meeting her mom earlier on the trip before we ended up going over to this girl's house to smoke, and her mom was actually really, really nice. Um, her mom seemed like a very like a chill but really nice and a just good lady. And I ended up meeting her at this Chick-fil-A that my brother was working at, and she seems like a really nice lady when I met her on the trip. And she's like, don't do what my daughter and your older brother and your older brother's friend do. And I laughed at it. I'm like, ha, I won't become a fiend like them. But yeah, I ended up meeting her mom earlier on the trip when we were eating at a Chick-fil-A because that's where my brother was working up at. And essentially, it's like the second day of the trip, right? I think that whole day we had just gone around and hanged out with my brother's friends that he had to say goodbye to because he was leaving Delaware for good. And then we had just gone around and seen a bunch of different people and said hi to a bunch of different people. And it was pretty chill. And essentially, the second night of the trip, we end up going over to this one girl's house, and he was like, "We're gonna go over here, and we're gonna go over to her house. We're gonna end up smoking and just chilling and hanging out with her because this is gonna be the last time I see her." And so we end up going over to this girl's house. We end up picking up all my brother's stuff, putting it into his car, and then picking up all my brother's stuff. And then we ended up going back to her house later that night, and then we ended up smoking with this girl. And essentially, it was me, my brother, his friend, this girl, and this girl's boyfriend. And this girl she was kind of cute, can't lie. And her boyfriend was a really cool guy. I ended up meeting her boyfriend. Her boyfriend was really cool. He seemed like a really cool dude. He had the zebra Yeezys. If any of you guys know those zebra Yeezys, he had the zebra Yeezys, and they were fucking sick. He was a super cool dude. He was kind of sitting there hitting his dap pen. All five of us were kind of just sitting in this smoke circle and just having a fun time. So we started smoking. And my friend Braden, or my brother's friend Braden, ended up spotting me. He ended up, lighting the bowl for me because I didn't know how to fucking light a bowl because I hadn't smoked weed in like 4 months. And he ended up spotting me and lighting the bowl for me. So I'm like 3, 4, 5 bowls in, and we're just doing like a normal rotation. And after like my fifth bowl, I just didn't want to do anymore because we were all kind of sharing a bowl. We would take a couple hits out of a bowl and then kind of pass it around. and I was more than like 18 hits deep, and it wasn't too much, and I just hadn't smoked weed in a while until this trip, and I was hitting a dap pen a lot on this trip, but like I wasn't smoking weed, and this girl's weed was very very potent. It was very strong, and so we're after we finished like our fourth or fifth bowl, I is it to me on this like sixth, fifth or sixth bowl, and I'm like, no, I'm good, I'm straight. And she's like, are you sure? Are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And she was being really nice about it. So they keep smoking. They smoke for like another 10, 15 minutes. And it was just very chill. We are kind of just sitting here smoking, having a good time, and it was a lot of fun. As I'm talking about this, I kind of just get the memories and just kind of remember and look back on it. It's just one of those memories that you kind of look back on, and it's very enjoyable. And it was just a very enjoyable moment. We were all sitting here smoking, and of course I'm always looking at the ground because I'm a very shy person. So I was more quiet, and this girl ended up looking at me, and she was like, hey, you want a gusher? And so she ended up giving all of us gushers. And at this point, my high went from kind of like a good high to a bad high. When you get high, like the first 10 minutes of your high should not be the craziest minutes of your high. They should be like the what's the right word? Like the not the craziest part of your high. And I was just at like a very weird point in my high, and it wasn't like a really bad yet, but it was like 55% uncomfortable and like 45% good, if that makes any sense. And it wasn't super enjoyable. Like the first like 20 minutes as we're all sitting there was super enjoyable. And I remember just feeling like I felt kind of anxious, and I felt kind of trapped in the room, and I just felt very uncomfortable. Like the high made me feel super uncomfortable, and I just felt like I don't know. I felt like I was like my head was like mimicking me, and my words were mimicking me, and it was very uncomfortable, and like my whole high just turned from like very enjoyable to very bad really quickly. If any of you guys have ever had a bad high, I feel like your words mimic you. If you sing, the song mimics you, and everything just kind of goes bad. You feel like you're kind of falling through your body, and I felt like that a little bit, and it just started going downhill. And I had one bad high back, and I think it was like 6 months previous to this, so I knew what a bad high was, and that story is crazy. I ended up actually throwing up that time, but this time it wasn't too crazy bad, but it was kind of really uncomfortable. And I remember just wanting to leave this girl's house because I felt like being stuck in a room with like four different people just was a thing that was tripping me out. And like right as like I'm starting to feel really bad, and just it wasn't like really crazy bad to the point where felt really nauseous, but I felt like I was falling through my body, and not in a good way, but like in a bad way, and like my words kind of mimicked me. And I just started feeling really bad, to say the least. And I kind of wanted to get out of there, but I didn't want to be rude. Which, don't ever feel like you're being rude. If you're having a bad high, let the people around you know, and don't freak out. Always stay calm, because honestly, it's a high. It's not weed doesn't kill anyone, and always stay calm. So I wasn't super uncalm, but like because I had a bad high before, and I was like, oh, this will pass. It's just at the moment, and I just really wanted to leave. And right as like I'm ready to like tell them, hey, I want to get going because I don't feel too good, they're like, oh, they all end up finished smoking and finished talking. And my brother looks at this girl, and he's like, hey, my brother looks at this girl, and he's like, hey, we're gonna get going because I want to go hang out with my girlfriend tonight, and we gotta go to this and this tonight. And this girl's like, okay. So we all end up like giving this girl a hug. I ended up dabbing up her boyfriend. I ended up dabbing up her, and then we end up leaving this girl's room. Okay, and looking back, this girl had like a bunch, like those like a little like 420 stickers. She had a bunch of those like she had a bunch of like stickers on her mirror that said 420, and she's the type of girl to smoke weed a lot, and it was pretty funny. She was a very nice and like relaxed girl, but she legit had like 420 posters all over her room and a bunch of 420 stickers, and it was just very funny. And I remember her boyfriend just was hitting his dap in the whole night. So we end up leaving this room, and I'm kind of having a bad high at this point. And, we end up leaving this girl's room, and we end up going to my brother's car. We get in my brother's car. And if any of you guys have had a bad high, go in a car. Like, get someone sober to drive you around, because I'm telling you, if someone sober drives you around when you're having a bad high, it will like, decrease your bad high. Like, I'm telling you, one of the biggest cures to like a bad high is just being in a car going like 30, 40 miles an hour. It will honestly cure your bad high. And so we end up leaving. I'm still feeling like shit at this point. I'm just trying to hide it because I don't want to, be that one kid that smokes weed and has a bad high and that looks like a loser. And so I'm kind of like, just kind of, being really respectful. Get in this car, and I'm kind of just like, I just felt kind of like really shaky. Brother starts the car, and at this point, I just feel like really like ready just to like feel really sick kind of. And so he just starts driving, and then I just focused on the road as he was driving, and just everything went back to normal. Like just focusing on just feeling the speed and driving just made everything, all the bad high completely go away. So like 5 minutes later, I was 100% good, and I was still tripping like a motherfucker, get me not, but like my high went back to normal. I was very happy again, and I remember we ended up meeting with my brother's friend that night, which I have to say that for another story because that's a pretty big story. We ended up going to DQ or whatever that place is called, that ice cream place. We ended up getting ice cream. I remember that whole night. I felt like I was on like planet Jupiter. Like when I was at day Q, I felt like I was on planet Jupiter in Mars, and like I don't know, that the high was extremely crazy. It was one of the craziest highs I've ever experienced, and it was just a crazy high, and it was very enjoyable. But I just had like a bad high during it. Like it started out very good. The middle part was bad, and then, after I moved past the bad part, everything went back to normal, and I was just tripping like a motherfucker. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. I know I don't think I don't think anyone's ever done a bad like weed bad high story. Maybe there is people that have done it. You just don't usually see the people that are at the bottom. But yeah, if you guys did enjoy the story, make sure to leave a like. This is like a once in a while story. I'm not going to be telling a lot of weed or vaping stories anymore because otherwise YouTube hides my channel and they don't promote my channel. So yeah, if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like. This is a very, very special one, and I really did want to save this one for you guys, but I said fuck it. I really wanted you guys to watch this video and enjoy it. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. Yeah, this video is 14 minutes long. It's probably gonna be like more like 10 once I edit through everything. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like. It's been me. Peace.